Hello, beautiful people. It is another beautiful Thursday on Caritas Connect. We are live on DMR TV and on Facebook. So today we are going to be talking on our humanitarian and transformative show, or WASH and school attendance. The past weeks we have been talking about the WASH initiative, that's the water sanitation and hygiene initiative by the Caritas of the Diocese of Boya. We have had a topic on women in water sanitation and hygiene. We have had a discussion on water sanitation and hygiene campaigns, on educating communities on what water sanitation and hygiene are really about. And today we are tackling wash and school attendance. That's water sanitation, hygiene and school attendance. Joining us today are Miss Ngum Lilian, the officer in charge of school attendance at school assistants at Caritas, and Ms. Andusha Atu, the program analyst, equally part of the WASH initiative. So thank you for joining us today and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Ms. Alvin.
Okay, so today we are going to, I believe we have heard a lot about water sanitation and hygiene, but I believe there's always something new to learn, there's always something to unlearn, there's always something to remind ourselves of. So that's what we are going to be doing today. So I encourage you all to stay tuned with us as we unpack and let's get ourselves enlightened together. But before we get into our discussion for the day, we'll have a brief video for Caritas updates by a WASH team member, and then on the progress of the water sanitation and hygiene program that is currently ongoing, and then we will have the panelists here give us more details on what has been going on at the Caritas building. Okay, that was that for the updates on the progress of the water sanitation and hygiene program. So far, from what I gathered from the video, the drilling machines are currently in Idi now, and then the company in charge is Fabian and Sons. Yeah, okay, I believe that the communities that have been doubting if this project is an authentic one can now with confidence engage with Caritas if they had doubts that this project was actually going to be brought to life. So we are going to have the panelists enlighten us on other activities that have been going on at Caritas so that we keep ourselves aware.
Okay, at the level of Caritas, as you could see in the video, the WASH initiative is very much taking roots. But apart from the WASH initiative, we also have the Kinder program, which is an OVC project.
Yes.
That is still going on. We've had a few distributions, and currently the officer in charge of economic recovery is doing all her best to see that the foster families have small income generating activities being sponsored.
Yeah.
So at the level of Caritas, income generating activities manual are being filled for the beneficiaries in the communities. Yes, we also have at the level of Caritas, we are mobilizing a lot of our staffs on the field to revive our parish Caritases.
Okay.
You know that this parish Caritas has been very vital for the work of Caritas in the communities.
Yes.
And it is our wish that these local resource persons be revived as much as possible in the light of the 75th anniversary of the diocese as well. So, in a nutshell, that's what Caritas has been busy doing.
Okay, thank you for that very brief yet very elaborate update on what Caritas has been up to. Okay, so to set the stage, we have talked a lot about water sanitation and hygiene here on air with the Caritas staff, and I equally recall that the orphans and vulnerable children, the Kinder program, has an aspect of WASH, water sanitation and hygiene, and I want to ask, let's begin with Madame Ngum Lilian. I want to ask, why is access to clean water, sanitation and hygiene so crucial in schools?
Access to clean water and hygiene is crucial in school because it directly impacts the health, the well-being, and education of the students. Because Without hygiene and sanitation, the students will not be able to study well. They will not be healthy, and not being healthy means you cannot sit in the class and study.
Okay, so we often hear about water, sanitation, and hygiene in the household, and maybe in the household around our houses, but we never really talk about it in school. But it has a great impact on children in school. So, how does poor hygiene and sanitation conditions affect schools specifically in the aspect of children attending school?
Poor hygiene and sanitation affect children in that when there is no clean water, the children become ill. That is, the children are affected or infected with diseases such as cholera and other waterborne diseases.
Yes.
Which actually we know the result. It can even lead to death, and
Yes.
these two may cause absenteeism, which reduce the performance of students.
Okay, so over to you, Mr. Achu. Can you paint to us what a school without proper water, sanitation, and hygiene facilities is going to look like, or looks like, and how you think it impacts students on a daily basis?
Okay, that's a very important question. You know that when we talk about water, sanitation, and hygiene, everywhere human beings are found is a crucial aspect that needs to be emphasized on.
Yes.
And school is not school attendance, especially, that has to do a lot with students, especially the younger ones.
Yes.
We find in schools where, for example, we have deaths everywhere in the compound, the school compound. You will realize that when children are playing, maybe during their break time, most of the times they interact with this poor hygienic condition in their environment. And also, people that sell food in these schools, the condition around which the food is being maybe placed to sell is not clean. And if this condition if this environment is not clean, you find children who go to buy this food, they easily get infected, as my colleague mentioned. Once the students are infected, you have absenteeism there because they have to stay home for proper treatment.
Yes.
You find the aspect of latrines, for example. At times, students go and ease themselves behind classrooms.
Yes,
Pass
yes.
around behind classrooms at times in most of these schools. You find a lot of odors, unpleasant odors. You find a lot of
Unpleasant,
disease. Yes. And most at times, because these students don't feel comfortable using their school latrines, because the school latrines are very dirty. So when the school environment is not clean, all it leads to is to more and more dirty environment, and at times even this dirt can find itself even right into the classroom.
Yes. Okay, so beyond school attendance, how do you think it affects it? Like, how does it directly affect the children's performance, or the students' performance rather? How does it directly affect their performance? And do you think there's a specific age group or demographic that is more affected by poor water, sanitation, and hygiene conditions in the school environment?
Yes, talking about maybe groups that are mostly affected by this poor hygienic condition, I can mention girls.
Okay.
Girl child.
Yeah.
We know that school is a place where children feel comfortable.
Yeah,
At times,
usually.
yes, yeah, they feel comfortable when they're in school because they will play with friends, they will interact with their teachers. And when a child leaves the house and goes to school where he's supposed to be happy,
Yes.
and in the school milieu is inside a place where maybe the girl child is going to be to feel embarrassed because maybe talking about the situation of menstrual hygiene, for example, maybe a girl who goes to school and she did not plan that, or she did not expect her menses to start flowing in school. And once she's in school, she starts having her menses and she doesn't know what to do. She has to run maybe to the infirmary, and if there's no provision for sanitary pad, she feels embarrassed because other people will laugh at her, boys especially will make a mockery out of her, and at times even her own peers, her own girls friends too will also mock at her. So the aspect of having sanitary pads, which is a crucial aspect of sanitation in our schools,
Yes.
when it is lacking, the girl child doesn't feel comfortable. And even the latrines too, you know that the girl child, her hygienic condition is very delicate, because her reproductive organ is open, very exposed to a lot of germs. So when the latrines are not clean, as we earlier mentioned, at times you find these children going to the bushes to ease themselves because they cannot use the latrines, and going to the bushes doesn't make it safer, because going there, you know, as a girl bending down to ease yourself, a lot of things can get in there. So, and at times you find children maybe trying to go somewhere to ease themselves, they will not come back to school. Whereas if the latrines were clean, they will use a latrine and they will stay in school. So you see, if the school is not a place of safety, of comfort, which I believe water, sanitation and hygiene helps to keep, children will not feel comfortable. And if you are to be in school and you have to think and you have to stress between learning and being comfortable at the same time, it's a kind of distraction. Imagine you sitting in school and there's an odor just behind the class you can't cope with. Yes, so
very uncomfortable.
It's really a big distraction for learning. Yes.
It even plays with your psychology, because when you sit like that, you start thinking that, no, like let me elaborate about the girl child. Like, let me say the girl is thin, and when she sits there, what is running in her mind is, how do I get up from here and go home? Like,
Exactly.
and most of these things even leads to school dropout for girls.
Okay.
And we can also have children with disabilities. Yes, they are also a vulnerable, I would say,
vulnerable case, or demographic within
the school.
yeah.
And we also have low income, I would say, children who come from let me say a poor background, a low income background, maybe who cannot afford some of the basic hygiene facilities. When they come to school and those basic facilities too are not available as well, like clean water, like I mentioned earlier, sanitary pads, or maybe proper soap to wash their hands, it further exacerbates their poor condition. Yes.
Okay, I I had a lot of questions on health, hygiene, and attendance, but you both seem to have like already elaborated. But nonetheless, we're still going to I believe hammer on it, since we're talking more about the age groups and demographics. Even though you've already brought an aspect of what it of the picture of what it looks like. Okay, so how do common water, sanitation and hygiene related diseases like diarrhea or infections contribute to the students' absenteeism?
Okay, I'll take an example of a disease like typhoid fever,
Okay.
which is endemic in our area. So by endemic means it's constantly present in our area. Insofar as the hygienic condition of an environment is poor,
Yes.
you have children or you have people being infected with typhoid. And in these our schools, I can say in this our school is very exposed to typhoid, because there is what they eat. At times that is not very clean, because at times the people that bring this Alaska, at times bread with sauce, all those things,
Yes.
they need to be sensitized as well as to the fact that they are in charge of people's health, of children's health.
Yes.
They're in charge of children's life. Let me even put it that way to be extreme a bit. So if what you are giving the children is in school is not controlled, maybe by the administration, it's not controlled, and the children feed on these things, they easily get sick. When a child that contracts typhoid fever, for example, will have to stay home for a long, because typhoid fever is very stubborn. That is, apart from taking normal medication, we know in our
Yes.
society there's again maybe natural help, because typhoid fever is a very stubborn. You have diarrhea. In fact, all of these waterborne diseases that need to be properly taken care of cannot be taken care of when the child is at the same time going to school. The
Yes,
child has
that's
to stay
right.
home for a long period of time. And
Correct.
staying home means he's missing classes and all of these things. Yes.
Okay. Madam Lillian, many children miss school because of waterborne disease, like earlier mentioned. How do you think these water, these conditions, the sanitation and hygiene and water conditions in the school environment can be improved to avoid such cases?
Yeah, Madam Marine, that's a very pertinent question. I think that first of all, we have to start by creating awareness. Creating awareness about hygiene and sanitation, educating the staff of the various schools, educating the children about the importance of clean water.
Yes.
In addition to that, we have to we advise them to increase the number of hand washing points in school,
Yes.
because that will help the children to know that when they wash their hands constantly, they will not easily acquire any disease.
Okay.
Now, if I can add to that, I think sensitization also needs to be done at the level of the people selling food to the children.
Yes.
Because at times they sit in the midst of dirt to sell the food, or at times the quality of what they sell to the children also is not good. So the sensitization too has to be directed towards these people as well, because children cannot be in school without eating, and if they have to eat what is not clean, it means that they will probably sometimes stay away from school because of one infection or the other.
Okay, I think in past sessions we have really emphasized on hand washing, and like you would, like Madam Lillian has equally mentioned, increasing the washing points in school. But I want to understand, how can increasing washing points, like hand washing points in school, as simple or as minor as it may sound, help keep children in school?
Okay, we were discussing about one of the reasons why children stay in school is because they get infected by waterborne diseases.
Yes.
And most of these diseases, the germs responsible for most of these diseases are mostly found on our hands. On the hands, children play a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, children play a lot. They're always putting their hands in one place or the other. So having your hands washed constantly is a way of taking away those germs. And if those germs are out of your hands, no matter how you touch your face, or you put your hands in your mouth, or you handle your food, the rate at which children will get infected will be highly minimized. Yes.
Okay, so how does the availability of safe drinking water in schools impact students? Like, how does it help them focus? How does it boost their energy levels throughout the day? Because we know, like we always say, that water is life, and I think even as grown-ups, we are not really encouraged to drink enough water, or it's like the more we are advised to drink much water, is like we drink more of alcohol instead. But how does safe drinking water impact students' life, and how do you think you can actually encourage them to make use of the availability of safe drinking water that they have around them?
Safe drinking water impact children's life in school, in that when there is clean drinking water, these children, they stay focused. Let me say, when most of these children come to school with food, at times they don't bring water, but in schools where we have clean drinking water, these children have the ability, they have the access to water, so this help them to stay focused in class. because I bet you if you are thirsty here, whatever I will be telling you, you will not understand unless you have quenched that thirst. So this help children to focus. It equally help girls, like when they are on their menses, they find it easy to rush to the toilet, because toilets with good water also facilitates other aspects.
Yeah.
So girls who are menstruating, they can easily get to the toilet, get the change, clean up themselves and go back to class. Whereas if water is not available, they will not be able to stay in school. So with safe drinking water, their self-esteem is high.
Yeah.
Yes, that's talking about. Let me just talk about equality here. When there is water, water is like, how do I put it? Water plays a very vital role when it comes to hygiene. So it helps mostly girls and younger children who mostly rely on elderly ones. Instead of disturbing elderly ones to go get water somewhere, there is already water in school, so they can easily get it themselves. We talk about people with disability. When water is available in school, they are not disturbed. They can easily get access to water, and this help them to focus in class.
Okay. That's a very, very valid point you made there, especially the point on menstrual, when girls are on their periods, when instead of going home they can just like go to the washroom and then clean up and then return to the classroom. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And with safe drinking water, you understand that what the water that the child is consuming is safe for their health, and then it's safe for every other child there. So it's not going to cause them maybe diarrhea, typhoid, that is going to keep them off school like maybe for a week or two.
It reduces the impact of infection and other waterborne diseases.
Okay.
If I might add something, at times when we talk about availability of water in schools, when you mention safe drinking water, I want to stress on that word safe. Because there might be water in the school,
but it's not safe.
Even to wash their hands, if that water is not safe, the hand washing will not have its impact, because you wash your hands with dirty water and you still handle your food, or you still put the hands in your mouth, you will still get infected. So it's very important that these schools don't only have water, but the water needs to be safe. Yes.
Okay, that's a lot of important emphasis there. I think from observation, we have noticed that many schools actually do struggle with maintaining hygiene in crowded environments. Like the school is actually a crowded place, children, like there are literally children everywhere. What practical solutions do you think that can work in ensuring better sanitation despite the high student number?
Okay, generally in schools there is what is usually organized like a manual labor.
Yes.
If maybe the number of these, I'll call it, instead of calling it manual labor, maybe I'll call it a sensitization campaign in the school.
Or let's say clean-up campaign
in the school. Yeah, if you multiply the number of these clean-up campaigns in school, I think it will highly improve the hygienic conditions of the schools. Another way is to get everyone on board, get the students on board, get the people selling food on board, and also get the staff on board. It should not be just the students or just maybe the staff. Yes, everybody should be involved in this. And one thing or two I wanted to say is that at times children, when you tell my colleague mentioned about multiplying hand washing points, the fact that maybe there is not just one hand washing point, where maybe children will be crowded just in one, and a child might just get discouraged. The child, imagine a child is going to eat. He knows, okay, I need to wash my hands, but I want to wash my hands and the place is crowded.
Yes.
He will just get into the mentality of black man if he died or tea. It's not this one time that something will happen, and that's how he will easily develop the habits of not washing his hands before eating. So whereas if you multiply those points, it makes the hand washing less crowded. And children at times, they just like to play with what they see around, even just to play while washing your hand. At least it's doing something already towards water hygiene and sanitation. Yes. And another aspect of sanitation is not having refuge around the school where children mostly interact, because at times you find that children, if they are playing in the school compound, maybe, and with boys, for example, boys at times play and they don't care where they are entering. The boy can easily enter inside the dustbin to take his ball or to hide, even if they are playing what they will call maybe bandit police kind of. But if those refuges are not around where children interact, maybe somewhere a bit far from the interaction, it also helps to keep germs away from the children.
Yes. Okay.
And to add to what Mr. Atu just said, I think creating or encouraging schools to create clubs like hygiene and sanitation clubs will help improve the level of hygiene and sanitation in schools.
Okay. I think to equally add, in a case of a crowded environment where you said like a child might want to eat and the water point is crowded where they think they cannot like really wash their hands. I think if there are many water points in a school, the teacher of that class, like that's maybe for situations where it's mostly children, the teacher of that particular class can maybe lead the children one after the other to the washing point, like ensure that before break every child washes their hands before they get something to eat, and even after break, before they get back into the classroom, they have that exercise of washing their hands. And I think it's going to inculcate into the children the habit of washing their hands before eating, after playing, like just at every point, because once they sit in class and they're idle, there's a tendency of putting their hands on their faces, some even soft fingers. Some will put it in their nostrils, rub your eyes, and then from skin infections to even bacteria that go into the system and all of those things. Yeah, so I think those are equal. That's another tip of managing hygiene and sanitation in crowded areas. So let's get into the aspect of gender and the social impact when it comes to water, sanitation and hygiene and school attendance. You people have already hammered on menstrual hygiene, but I think we still have like some points, some aspects that are not really usually looked into. So directed to you, Madam Gumlilian, what role do you think hygiene programs play in keeping girls in school?
I want to think that hygiene is a gender sensitive program, and this actually help keep girls in school, because when they have hygienic facilities, these girls go a long way to stay in school, whereas with the absence of the hygiene facilities, most of these girls will not want to stay in school because already they are physically or mentally challenged. They are stigmatized, and most of them will not want to stay in school with their friends because maybe when they pass here they are being insulted or being thrown slants at. So I think good or safe water and hygiene will help girls stay in school.
Yes, I think equally in that line, apart from having providing safe water, maybe sanitary pad and others, we equally need to educate the girl child, educate the boy, because at times the stigma comes from the boy child who doesn't understand what's going on with the girl. For him, it's just an opportunity of mockery. So if the boy child is also educated on what happens in a girl child as she's growing.
Yes.
He will know that he doesn't have to mock at maybe a girl who he sees with menses, or and you also have to encourage maybe the elderly ones in school, the other elderly girls, to also assist the younger ones who are just new into this thing, to know how to manage themselves. And lastly, I would say the latrines especially, because like she earlier said, if a girl starts menstruating here, the immediate thing is that she wants to clean up, and she goes to the latrine to clean up, and it's so nasty. Like, she's already feeling nasty, and she's going to clean up, she sees again another place that is, in fact, it's just an opportunity to just leave the school. And once they leave the school, if she's being stigmatized or being insulted, she wants to stay home until she has finished menstruating before she comes back to school, because she knows that each time she's in school there is no way to properly clean up. They will insult her and all those things. So I think that is one thing, in addition to what my colleague said, that can be done to keep the girl child in school.
Okay. With this aspect of bullying and stigma that comes with hygiene, that surround hygiene, menstrual hygiene, and hygiene in general, that discourages students from attending school. You've mentioned the elderly girls in school, that they can, how do I call it, that they can lift up or help the younger ones who experience these things. Sometimes it's not even just the younger students, it can happen even to the older ones, because sometimes it happens and you are not even aware. You might have miscounted something, maybe there was due to stress or too much energy. It came when you did not expect it. But I think it should not just be based on the ladies. I think men too should be included. How do you think the boys or the other gender in school who do not experience menstrual periods be included, and as a means to create a supportive environment for those who are going through all of this?
I wanted to talk about girls club, but since we are talking about something that has to be mixed, inclusive. In some schools you have this thing they call a health club. Yes, in a health club where both girls and boys are
present.
You can make it a topic, a necessary topic to be dealt with in this club, in these schools, where the boy is also enlightened on the necessity of not mocking. So he has to understand that when he does that, he is kind of let me say downgrading the dignity of the girl. Yes, I remember once Caritas, we went to, I think it was GHS Bomaka, where we had to distribute sanitary pads to the girls. But before that, we had a talk with the boys as well. And in the beginning, the boys didn't understand why they are even there. So they were like, but they are sharing pads there, what are we here to do? Where is our own? See, in the beginning there was a bit of resistance from the boys, but with the discipline they had to stay. And at the end, the boys were even asking more questions than the girls. They got more interested, because we made them understand that you have a mother who passed through these same things before they could have you. So when you see a girl menstruating, it's a good sign. It means that she's able to be a mother.
Yes.
So if you have a sister, you have a mother in the house as a boy, you know that they go through this. If you don't see it in a lady, it means that something is wrong with her. She cannot be a mother. And we all know that boys love their mothers. So when you try to take them from that corner, you see that you appeal to their emotion. Yes. So that's a way.
And even at the end of that activity, some boys even came that we should give them pads so that they'll give their sisters back
at home. Yes.
So it was really interesting.
Okay, that's an interesting point, and it's an interesting thing to know as well. Like the boys getting interested, like being involved and interested at the end of the day in whatever is going on. Okay, Madam Lillian, during your activities in various schools where you go to assist students in paying their fee and all the like, have you come across any societal or cultural norms that make it difficult to implement water, sanitation and hygiene conditions? If you have come across, can you let us in on what they are?
I have not actually come across any, because going to pay school fee, I just focus on what I'm going to do, and Not really, but
there are some that I
that's
can say maybe if you just go around some schools
Mm-hmm.
or you even hear maybe at times children or even the administration interacting, you can already bring out some small points that can really hinder. Like for example, when we went for that campaign,
Mm-hmm.
the talk we did to break that taboo of menstrual hygiene. So it's already that is one of the societal, let me say, culture or norms that at times they say is a hindrance in implementing, because at times even teachers, they don't care about it. It's like it's a taboo to talk about menstrual hygiene. That is
Yes.
something that really needs to be removed from our minds. So when we had that sensitization, for example, even the teachers around were like, they were interested in it. It's something that they don't usually do, because I don't know if it's that they are ashamed to talk about it, or
I think
or
they
it's a
shame
taboo. Yes,
because they are actually aware
yes,
of it.
of it, but
It's just that they don't want to
don't
talk
want to
about
talk
it, and
about
I don't know
it.
why.
Yes. So that is one aspect that I can mention. There's also this thing of black man will die dirty. We believe that we are blacks, we are strong, so it's not this small thing that is going to. Whereas children, I would say children die bit like, and it's slow. They say this waterborne infection at times they are slow poison.
Yes, and
Yes.
children have really weak
Weak
systems.
systems, especially the younger ones who are still very vulnerable. So we really have to have it in our minds that water, sanitation, and hygiene is very important for a human being, for children in particular. When COVID hit us, we got so used to wash our hands, to sanitize ourselves. Someone even said COVID came to teach us how to be clean.
Yes.
And now that COVID is gone, we are back to our normal black man no dey die dirty kind of thing.
Honestly.
So it's actually a mindset that we as Africans, blacks in developing countries, I don't know if it's because we have struggled so much that we love struggling always. Yeah, we have to.
We are addicted to struggles.
Addicted to struggles. So at some point we have to know that we need to be comfortable in our education. We need to be comfortable in everything we do.
Yes. And okay.
Some cultures too are really resistant to change. They
Yes.
don't want to adopt
New methods, yes, new ideas.
yes, or new ideas. So once you start talking about we need water in the school, they say no. What was the use of giving water in schools when there are streams everywhere? So I want to say that's a serious thing that we
concern.
have to,
Yeah, that has to be
we have
eradicated.
yes, sensitize most of our communities about it.
Yeah. And if we want to actually check, to be honest, they say black man no dey die dirty, but it's cholera that has been killing people. COVID killed people. Another point, when there was COVID, people were washing hands without anybody telling them. Like, we washed our hands until they almost changed color. But immediately COVID left, the habit of washing hands equally left us. Black man only die dirty, but you will have running stomach. Diarrhea will cause you to have running stomach here, and you will be weak.
Exactly.
You cannot do anything. And if you are not careful, it can even kill you. Imagine that you have diarrhea and then you still eat something that is dirty or poorly cooked, and then you have food poisoning. You don't know what is going to go and cause in there. Like, so how does black man not die dirty? I beg, black man dey die dirty. May we try change. Black man dey die dirty. Okay, so we earlier spoke of including children, not just the staff maybe doing the cleaning, not just the food vendors doing the cleaning, not just the students doing the cleaning, but it's actually not very easy to include students into such activities, because I think they consider it boring. It's not play, or maybe they consider it as a chore. Yes, it's burdensome, because they already, one of the things that make children happy when they go to school is the fact that they can avoid chores from home. So you bring them to school again and you are like, okay, we are to clean.
Yes.
Already in the house, they don't like cleaning.
They come
So they come to school, you ask them to clean. It might not be an everyday thing, but just for that moment. And I think that the fact that students don't like it is one of the reasons why the highest punishment they usually give children is maybe you clean the classroom, or you bring a cutlass, you clear the school compound and things like that. So what do you think are the creative ways, those things that can make children or students actually enjoy cleaning their environment, keeping their water points, like maybe if the school has been gifted a public tap, if they have a borehole in school, if they have a bush around the school, or maybe grass around the school, how do they how do you get them involved in this activity without them feeling it's a burden? Yeah.
Okay, we earlier talked about things like hygiene clubs. Yes. So when you establish these clubs, the attendees of these clubs are the students. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Let's say, for example, you have several clubs in the school, maybe the health club, hygiene clubs, and science club, and all of that. And maybe you launch a kind of competition among them to see maybe the club that will come up with something about sanitation that would deserve maybe a prize. Yes. Students are very creative. They can easily use very local, low cost things. Maybe when we are talking, for example, about hand washing points. Yes, hand washing points. You can design a hand washing point with these 10 liters that we have in the house, or with these buckets. Yes. If you bring the students to sit together and create maybe these things that they can maybe distribute, or you say maybe each class should create its hand washing point. Imagine that in front of each classroom design its own hand washing point. It means that there are hand washing point in front of every classroom.
Exactly.
Yes. Or if you say, for example, that okay, we are going to give a prize to the cleanest student in school, or we are going to give a prize to the cleanest classroom in school. See that students like motivation, they like prizes.
Yeah, so even for things that will benefit them.
Yes, you have to force a child to eat. Meanwhile, food is actually important for him. So when you do those things, it gets them involved. Yes, and they might be doing it just for the prize, but with time, they develop a habit.
It will get into their
So I think that's
part
a
of them.
way that we can use to actually get these children involved in it.
Okay.
I equally want to think that constant sensitization in school. Why not even take maybe 5 minutes during assembly and educate the children about the use of waterborne diseases, give them the disadvantages and advantages of being clean, and all that. You see that maybe the children will become familiar and they'll always want to do it willingly.
I also think that aside the health clubs and the assembly, they can equally make use of their drama clubs. Yes, they can make use of singing. They can make use of
say rhymes about hygiene.
Yes, drawings and all of those things, like cartoons, things that students of their age group are like really interested in and can easily connect to. So you've given like maybe a competition being one of the cost-effective methods on implementing or improving water, sanitation, and hygiene conditions in school. So what do you think are other methods or tips that are not really expensive that schools can implement or can make use of without necessarily relying on maybe funders or donors or people that can give infrastructure, provide infrastructure to schools?
Okay, I will take the aspect maybe of water. One of the reasons why latrines are always dirty is because maybe there's no water to clean them. When a child goes into the toilet, there's no water to flush. For example, in case maybe the toilet is a modern toilet, a modern one, there's no water to flush, and it piles. After you start seeing it even at the door, all those things, because there's no water. And we know that water is very scarce. And some schools maybe don't have boreholes or don't have even tap water. So one of the ways that they can collect rainwater, maybe when rainy season is coming, they can have drums at various points in school where they collect the rainwater, even just for the latrines. And put these drums of water at the level of the latrines. So with water there, it will be difficult, or let me say it will limit, because students at times, even with water,
Yes, even
yes,
with water.
but we trust that if
yeah.
at least there is water, it's going to minimize the level of contamination at the level of the latrines. The latrines at least will be kept clean somehow. So if schools use this means of collecting rainwater to be using maybe to clean the latrines, it will be good.
Yes.
And I earlier mentioned maybe using they say 15-liter buckets or this 10 bottles of water to design hand washing points. Yes, I think that is not really expensive to make. Yes, even the student themselves can design something like that.
Yeah.
So I think those are some small things that I think are while waiting for the funders to come maybe and offer balls to school.
Yeah, or something.
We can already start doing those small things.
Okay.
We'll add by saying that we also have this PTA in schools. Yes, they carry on many projects. Why not look into this water and hygiene thing, which is very necessary?
Yes.
And do it as one of the projects. Yes. So PTA should always look at the necessity of water in school as one of the projects that they can easily sponsor.
Okay. I was almost about asking how you think partnerships can help schools, like maybe communities, organizations can help schools with such things. But I think you mentioning the PTA, it's actually a very relevant or valid point, because the PTA, the Parent Teacher Association, is literally made up of the parents of the children who are in that school. So if they can actually look into those things that will help keep their own children in school and help them perform better, I think that's a good point. And if the parents and teachers are not enough to carry out these activities, I think they can always seek for help. People always apply for partnerships, or if you always know somebody that can be of help somehow, people do fundraisings.
Yes.
People we bring up ideas and initiatives that can be of benefit to these children. And I believe that many people usually like helping little children and all of those things. So if it means that the children will be kept in school by such initiatives, I think people should always consider them. Okay, so we always like to, I know that we as Cameroonians, we complain a lot about our government not doing this or government's not doing that. But do you think that the government can intervene in any way, maybe with policies to ensure that schools prioritize water sanitation and sanitation and hygiene?
Yes, I want to go at the level of the vendors, especially those who sell food.
Yes.
Yes. I think if a certificate is required from all of these people.
Yes.
Yeah. And not just having a certificate, but having maybe an inspector who goes around on a regular basis to make sure that what these people sell to the children is of quality and is, let me say, is free from germs. It will help a lot to mitigate this waterborne infection diseases in the school. Yes. So at that level, I would say the government really needs to emphasize that aspect, send inspectors around schools to check not only for the vendors but even the cleanness of the school surrounding. If the school is dirty, you can always maybe, I don't know, sanction the administration or one thing, I don't know. But I think at that level, that's what the government can do. Because when you just allow everybody to do what he wants, bring and sell whatever he wants, you find our children eating whatever. Yeah.
I think I could add to that, saying that even at the level of the infirmaries in schools, they should make sure that the what is there in terms of sanitation and hygiene or maybe medication should be proper for the children. Because I remember when I was in secondary school, our infirmary used to have one prescription for all illnesses.
Alright, say.
Exactly. We probably attended the same school in different environments, but that's the only prescription. Whether you have malaria, whether you have typhoid, whether you have just a headache, no matter what your problem is, they will give you paracetamol. And the infirmary equally has a lot to do with sanitation and hygiene. Yeah, so I think they should equally prioritize the operations of the put in place policies that ensure that the infirmary is properly functioning. Yes, and they should equally ensure that I don't know why some people literally construct schools without at least a tap. It's true that the quality of water from the tap is not guaranteed, but at least it can always be, it can always serve the purpose of the modern toilets, of cleaning the toilets, cleaning the classrooms. If it's not safe for children, I think some schools can actually afford filters.
Yes.
If one per class, some schools can afford that. It's just that we are the way we are, greedy, and always maybe waiting for help. And we realize that most times when help is given to us for free, we don't usually prioritize, we don't value it that much. It's usually not sustainable, because it's like you be like, okay, it was given to me, probably another person is going to come and give. Yes, and that's how the cycle continues. And at the end of the day, we have the facilities, but we still have the concerns or the issues that we are trying to curb surrounding us and affecting us negatively when we actually have solutions to all of these things. So I think if not the government, ourselves, we should take personal initiatives, because I don't believe that maybe you as a teacher or as a parent, you would like your child to be faced with such circumstances that are going to make them to stay away from school or perform poorly or even die.
Yeah.
Because from small bacteria, people do die. It's just that we have made our minds, we have programmed our minds in such a way that we blame everything on witchcraft.
Exactly.
Yeah, so little things that we can handle by ourselves, we blame everything on witchcraft. So I think we should really try to be responsible and ensure that our children are in environments that are really safe and foster better learning environments and opportunities. Yeah, so moving ahead, the world has become a global village, like we call it, and technology is very much fast advancing. What do you think are some of the innovative ways that we can use in the light of water, sanitation and hygiene as solutions that schools can implement to improve school attendance?
Okay, we had mentioned one of the problems in schools of water scarcity.
Yes.
And at times in schools, you have boreholes.
Yes, some schools do
some
have
schools do have
boreholes.
boreholes, but you realize that the water never flows or flows very scarcely because probably we have electricity shortage.
Yeah.
Yes. So one of the innovations we can have is to have what we call hybrid pumps for the boreholes in such a way that if electricity is not available, solar
Yes.
energy can be tapped to supply the borehole in such a way that the water will constantly flow. So we should not just limit on the electricity that we have that always constantly fails us, but we should also think about solar panel, and that is why in the WASH program that Caritas is implementing in communities, one of the innovations that we have for the boreholes we are trying to give to these communities is the use of the hybrid pump that can use electricity and as well as solar energy.
Yeah.
So when there is no electricity, the solar energy can take over.
So
such
either
that
way there's a guarantee
water
to
constantly
save
is
drinking
flowing,
water. Yes.
So I think schools who have boreholes already can actually tap into this technology to make
Yeah.
sure that water is constantly flowing.
Okay. Madam Lillian, before we close this very special edition of Caritas Connect today, what are some of the things that if you had the power to change, or if you have the ability to do something about, you are going to implement to ensure that water, sanitation and hygiene in schools make the biggest impact on attendance? What would those things be?
If I have the power, I will first of all bring in the policy that there should be no school without water. Not just water, but safe water.
Yes.
Yes, that policy I will implement and maybe involve the government and other stakeholders. If there is no water, the school should not function. Then I will equally get to funders to assist those schools which are already existing to help provide us with funding and other resources that could lead to clean hygiene and sanitation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Chu?
Okay, she has already talked about the water. One thing I'll also make sure it exists in school are clean and good latrines.
Yeah.
Yes, clean and good latrines, because if there's water and there is no latrine, you will not see help with the sanitation. And in the area of sensitization, one thing that maybe we have not yet mentioned here is the fact that some students come to school late because they were fetching water in the house.
Yes.
And some parents don't care. They want their water, whether you are arriving school late or what, they don't care. So a sensitization needs to be done at the level of the parents to know that at 7:30 the child needs to be in school. So
Yes.
if the child maybe went to fetch water and the line was too long, the queue was too long, you should understand that the child has to go to school. Don't force the child to remain there and must bring water, and the child is coming back at 9 o'clock. When the child comes back at 9 o'clock and has to go to school, the child knows that I'm going to school late, I'm going to be punished, or the gate is going to be locked. The next thing is that, okay, he goes somewhere else, doesn't go to school. So imagine that in a week, a child goes to school late each day at 9. The probability that that child will not go to school that week is very high, because he'll be afraid maybe to be punished, or if the gate is locked, no children, they will not stay there to wait that the gate should be open.
Yes.
They'll go around playing and they'll find themselves in the catches and all of that. So at that level of sensitization, I will really make sure that the parents really understand that the child has to be in school at 7:30.
Okay. Okay.
Most importantly, we would like to encourage low-cost, sustainable hygiene, especially for girls. Maybe all schools should always have pads in the toilets
Or in the
or in the
infirmary.
infirmary, yes, so that if any child starts menstruating in school, it will be easier for the child to just get the pad, feed it in or change and go back to class.
Okay, I think there is this. There are sanitary pads that can be made locally, and I think a sustainable way will be teaching maybe young girls on how to make their own. Produce their own sanitary pads. Reusable, yes,
Reusable
especially in the
pads
girls' club like that. That's equally another form of empowerment. Things we hammer a lot on empowering young women. Yeah, the girl child. Yeah, so I actually remember being in secondary school, sometimes in primary school too, when there was no water. Teachers usually asked the students to bring maybe 5 liters of water to school to maybe clean the classrooms or use it for like general cleaning on campus, and the child already comes late because they had gone to fetch water, and if they don't bring water to school, it's still punishment. So I think it's very unhealthy, and it's actually a call for concern. It might sound very minor, but it's a lot. These are things that need to be taken into consideration, and they need to be looked into. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for accepting to be our guest. Thank you for the enlightening discussions. Thank you for the valid points that you've made. I believe that someone has learned something, or someone has changed their perspective about something they had in a particular direction. I believe that even if you did not learn as a viewer, you reminded yourself of the importance of water, sanitation, and hygiene, and I believe that you've equally understood that black man dey die dirty. You've understood the importance of water, sanitation in school, not just water, sanitation, and hygiene, but proper, functional, safe, accessible water, sanitation, and hygiene conditions in school. So water is not just water, sanitation and hygiene does not just have to do with hygiene. It has to do with dignity, it has to do with education, it has to do with a brighter future for our children. So let's continue to work towards a healthier schools and better learning opportunities for our children. So till next episode of Caritas Connect, stay healthy, stay aware, stay safe. Bye bye.